Hey, it's Glenn. I've had a hard time starting this video. I didn't anticipate how hard this topic was going to be to talk about. But my tribe lost a member earlier this month. This is hard, man. I didn't think this would be so hard. I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about dogs. Um, First of all, I'm a fan. I love dogs. I don't have a dog. I haven't had a dog in a really long time. Because, well, because I was just talking about love and grief with a friend last night. How, you pay for love with equal grief. And so I guess, when you're deciding what friendships and other relationships to invest in life, you're deciding that the inevitable grief of whenever that relationship ends and however that relationship ends is a fair price for the love that you get to experience before that, Like, when you marry someone, one of you's going to go first unless you go at the same time in some tragic roller skating accident or something. But, and with friends, it's the same thing. Everything ends, so usually not at the same time. Most of the time, one of you is going to be left grieving the other. And it doesn't have to be death. Life can take you in different directions. But yeah, the cost of love is grief. And I guess since my dog died, I don't even want to calculate how many years ago, I have not felt like it was worth the grief to invest in a dog emotionally. But that dog, and I guess that's what I want to get to, is the personhood of dogs. Because, my last dog, it kind of, I guess the common vernacular on human-dog relationships is master, pet, owner. I really, it's not like it offends me when people refer to their human-dog relationships in those terms. I'm just not comfortable with those terms, I guess, because I make no real distinction between human friends and canine friends. It's all the same, except, but of course there are differences, my friend who was over last night, we stayed up until precisely 2:22 in the morning discussing the concept of belief, breaking it down into noun and verb, and trying to determine what the true opposite of belief is, and it was so Great, can't do that with a dog, you know? But what I can't do or wouldn't do with that friend is, we wouldn't gaze affectionately into each other's eyes while he takes a dump in my backyard. That's something that would happen with a dog friend, but not with a human friend. I mean, probably. I can't think of a circumstance in which that would happen with a human friend. But, and I'm not discounting if a dog wants to have a deep intellectual conversation with me. I'm not going to say, hey dog, you can't talk like that. I'm just going to be like, well, that's weird. Okay. Okay, let's discuss. But I mean, yeah, there are differences in those relationships. But as far as personhood, I don't think it makes, like, a dog isn't less than a human, I guess is what I'm trying to say. A dog is just as much a person. And, like, they found out, like, there's this, I want to say it's called Williams syndrome, where humans born with Williams syndrome are basically just amazing people. They just, they just are all about love and affection. And they've found that dogs, the genetic difference between wolves and dogs is pretty much that dogs are wolves with Williams syndrome, which I think is amazing. But you see, like, that doesn't make them less than a wolf. It makes them different than a wolf. Just like every genetic thing that makes a dog different from a human doesn't make a dog less than a human. So I think it's weird, like, my friend Andrea just had a birthday party for her dog Trudeau, who's 12. And, a lot of people scoff at that. Because why would you have a birthday party for a dog? But I mean, why not? Why not have a birthday party for a dog? I mean, sure, the dog probably has no idea the significance of the celebration or that it's in the dog's honor. Different dogs have different levels of comprehension, but they might understand that it's for them. They might, but it kind of doesn't matter. It's like visiting someone with Alzheimer's in the nursing home. They might not know who you are. They might not know the significance of your visit. But it has a positive effect on them. Either way, even if they don't remember that you visited an hour later, they still have they're still benefiting emotionally from having had that visit. So, why not throw a birthday party for a dog? I mean, and like, if nobody shows up to a dog's birthday party and the humans are sad, the dog is going to pick up on that sadness. So it's all the same, really. It's different, but it's all the same. And I guess, I'm talking about this because earlier this month, my friend Nick's dog, Nick Smith, Lacy, passed away suddenly. I mean, I say suddenly, but she was like 16 years old. But she was spry. She didn't have like a long, sickly, lingering departure, which is a blessing for her. But, I mean, that dog was my friend no less than Nick is my friend. So, I don't know. It's like, you pay for love with grief. And you know, never with a dog have I thought it isn't worth the price. Like, anytime I've been close with a dog, and their lives are, 16 years is long for a dog, but tragically brief for a human. And that's normal. I mean, dogs don't usually even last 16 years, and it's always worth it. It's always worth the grief. But yeah, so I'm just thinking about dogs in general. I'm thinking about Lacy. I'm thinking about dogs in general, and just, how those relationships in my life have been of equal significance to human relationships in my life. They're, like, some people scoff at humans treating dogs like they're greater than dirt, I think that's sad. But Lacy was, like, she did videos on this channel. She did 4 videos called Yo Dog, which got more views than most of the videos on the channel. We were even going to do some more since I brought my channel back and was actually trying. Here's Lacy. Like, this is how good of friends Lacy and I were. Like, one Christmas, her humans gave me that picture of her. Because, Lacy crazy loved me. It was funny. It was like, yeah, just, it's difficult. It's always difficult to lose a friend. But, probably, if you've known dogs, you know. And, like, I guess, ever since my dog Barney passed away, gosh, he lived 13 years. He's been gone far longer than he was alive. And I've just been so scarred by that grief, because I don't think of Barney as having been a thing that I owned. Like, that dog, and I'll never have this relationship with a dog again. But that dog was my brother. We grew up together, literally. Like, I got him when I was 9 years old. So we were little kids together. We ran around the neighborhood. He was like, I don't know. You know how, like, the Little Rascals had a dog? Like, he was that dog in the neighborhood. Like, No one else had a dog. None of the other kids had an adventure dog like I did. Because, I mean, he was always there, you know, Han Solo and Chewbacca. That was us. And then, you know, I entered adolescence, I became a teenager, he was there. I got a car, I got a license. His head was always hanging out the passenger side window. You know, I always think like people who weep on YouTube, it's cringe-worthy usually. I always like, oh my gosh, that's so fake. Why are you putting on a show and being emotional for views or something? You know, I'm not doing that. I always say I have 16 subscribers and I'm comfortable with that. I don't need to manipulate anyone's emotions to get views. I honestly didn't think I was going to leak while doing this video. I thought it would be pretty quick and to the point, I guess. But when you really start talking about something, it's, you know, it's hard. It's hard because then you have to actually talk through those feelings. But yeah, so Barney, this is, why am I doing this to myself? So yeah, like all through my life, all my friends knew Barney. Like, he was just part of the squad, always. And, you know, I grew up, I got an apartment. Then I left Barney with my mom and my sister because I thought that would be better for him to lose one rather than two. But I still saw him all the time. And I wouldn't make that same decision now, because I think my bond with Barney was strong enough that he probably would have preferred to have gone with me. But you know, you don't always make the right decision in life. But yeah, I remember when he died, like, he got so sick. It wasn't like with Lacy. Like, he was an old 13-year-old dog. He was a Cocker Spaniel. Just for those of you wanting to visualize things accurate, he was a little blonde Cocker Spaniel. But, you know, we had to make the very hard decision to have him put to sleep. And yeah, so the night before we were gonna do that, I went and I am so stupid for talking about this. There is no way I can talk about this without losing it. But yeah, so I went and picked him up and drove him around, like, took him to all the places we used to hang out as kids. Took him to this big tree we used to climb. And he could climb trees. He could climb ladders. And then, very fortunately for my heart, we didn't have to put him to sleep because he went he went before we even could, like within 24 hours. So, yeah, but I mean, I'm just trying to illustrate. The reason I'm talking about that is just trying to illustrate, you know, how close you can get with a non-human friend, and you know that yes, you pay for love with grief. And so after Barney, like for years and years and years, I decided it wasn't, like I thought, you know, I wouldn't trade that for anything, but I didn't think I could do it again, you know. But again, I will never have another dog who grows up with me. I won't ever have another dog who's my brother. In the sense that Barney was. You know. And so like Lacy wasn't even my dog. You know, she didn't live in my house. She wasn't my Chewbacca. She was my friend Nyx. But I was still close with her, you know, because I don't differentiate. Like I have a lot of friends who are dogs who live with other people. And this is going to happen to me. You know, a lot of them are in their senior years now. And this is going to happen to me anytime any of the ones I'm really close to go. But yeah, and you know, it's sad. It's like it's kind of when dogs get that, when they've been around that long and it's time to go. Like Nick's family lost another dog just the other day. Rigby, who was even older than Lacy. So they're dealing with a lot of grief right now. It's hard, but you know, it's worth it. Like, the grief price tag that comes with a dog is worth it. Just saying. And Lacy, I mean, if you've read my new Legends of Nod book, there's a scene where they bring in this Celestian hound. And you know, that's like, I picture this dog, just so you know, looking like that picture I showed you of Lacy, but with angel wings. And you know, the cool thing about Celestian hounds, it's like you don't really have to pay that price of grief necessarily, because Celestian hounds don't die of old age. They just, when their human or Celestian friend who they've bonded to dies of old age, the Celestian hound just goes to sleep in grief. And then they can wake up again, you know, often it's the crying of a baby that will wake them up, and then they'll bond with that baby and just be lifetime buddies. And that's kind of the life cycle of a Celestian hound, but it was based on Lacy. Kind of because like simple words are hard to get out. Because, you know, I never really analyzed this that deeply. but I think I came up with the concept of Celestian hounds and made them look like Lacy because I wanted her to live forever. So yeah, I mean, tears aside, I'm happy to have known her. It was worth the price of grief, and that's every dog in my life. I'm privileged to have known them. Like, dogs teach us so much about ourselves. And like, all the things we get hung up about and worried about, they don't give a crap. They don't. Dogs literally have no shame. Like, their priorities in life teach us something, They're all about love. And just enjoying the pleasures of life. Dogs love to eat. Dogs love to roll around in the grass and run and play and make friends. They're always making new friends. They're never like, all right, I don't need to meet anyone else. They want to meet everyone they see. It's something to strive for, really, as humans. I think the lessons of dogs, the lessons that they teach us, if we take them to heart, I mean, that doesn't mean we should gaze into each other's eyes affectionately while we take dumps in the front yard. But, the things that translate to being human, I feel like dogs do it better. And we should strive to live up to those examples. And yeah, like, I'm finally, after all these years, I've decided I need to get a dog. I'm researching it. I want to get a golden retriever puppy. It's expensive. It's going to take a long time to save up. I'm shooting for end of the year as a goal, If I don't quite make it, I'll at least be well on the way to saving up for a puppy. Because, like, the quarantine, the pandemic is what kind of broke my resolve to never go through that again, because you invest so much love in a dog if you do it right. And so then the grief price tag is enormous. And I just never wanted to do that again, but it doesn't matter apparently, because Lacy wasn't my dog. She was my friend's dog. I'm still paying a price in grief. But yeah, like, just because I live alone, and like, the pandemic hits at a time when I'm alone. I live alone. I'm single. I was so isolated for like most of a year. Like, we're just now getting vaccinated. Yeah, it's been over a year, and I've been mostly alone for that whole time. And I had to Google things, like, my brain would start going in strange directions, like, and I'm like, well, that thought doesn't really make sense, does it? Like, I would start having kind of like paranoid thoughts and stuff, and I would Google like the effects of isolation, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually doing pretty well. It could be so much worse. Like, you can legitimately go insane if you're alone too much, because humans are social animals. And I value solitude. I'm a writer. I feel like I get a charge, and like my energy comes from being alone. My energy also comes from being social. I need a balance of the two. Because too much socialization wears me out. Like I need to get away, and too much isolation does the same. I need to escape from the isolation. But it's usually I'm fighting for time alone. This past year has been a completely different experience. And so, I never want to get caught where I don't have anyone in my quarantine bubble again. And I like dogs, and I think I'm ready. Even in the midst of grieving for Lacy, that's how I know I really am, because I think I'm ready to have a dog live in my house again. Drinking coffee. Because, I probably still have a lot to learn from dogs. And I'll probably have birthday parties for my dog. It's, if nothing else, if the dog doesn't know what's going on, it's still a great excuse to have people over. And that's, I think, the thing I missed most during the pandemic was having parties. I used to have people over fairly often, big group. So, any and all excuses are valid to have people over. So heck yeah, I'll probably have a birthday party for my dog and make a video about it. But anyway, that's pretty much, that's what I wanted to say. I had no idea I was going to get that emotional over it, but in retrospect, I don't know why I thought that. Why I thought I could talk about this topic without shedding some tears. But I'm glad I did. I just wanted to say goodbye to my friend Lacy. And, I just wanted to lift up that friendship. Because it was not lesser than a friendship with a human. It was a friendship. It was a friendship that I will always treasure. And so, thank you, Lacy, wherever you are. We grieve because you brought us so much joy and so much love. And yes, in the heart of my grief, I can say it was worth it. So that's all for now, and I'll see y'all next time.